Good to see you. How you doing today?
Nice to meet you.
Good.
Paul Lovell, Santa Barbara.
Hey, good to see you.
How are you?
Good to see you.
You doing, Mike Coliani?
District Commander.
I appreciate you guys.
Hi, Dave Patsy, FEMA volunteers. Thanks for coming here.
You guys have 13, right?
15.
15, that's right. Okay. Good to see you. Okay. Where do you want, Jay?
Are we the only
Good
TV
afternoon,
station?
ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Emergency Command and Control Vehicle for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. We're excited to be here to participate in this mission assigned by FEMA. The Corps of Engineers is the public works and engineering arm of FEMA when disasters occur, and we're ready to tackle any mission assigned. We have teams all around the country positioned to help out communities in need, and we're very pleased to be able to help out here. The Los Angeles District is the local district within the Corps of Engineers in California in this area, and I'd like to introduce our commander, Colonel Kurt Gibbs, Commander, Los Angeles District. Say a few words.
Good evening to you all. It's great to be here. We've got a guest, Lieutenant General Todd Semonite from U.S. Army Corps of Engineers headquarters. He's our Chief of Engineers and Commanding General here to visit today. And we were able to get him up to a couple of sites to see what this community is going through and why they need our help. And I'm thrilled to highlight that we're making some great progress. Yes, there are challenges, but we're making great progress. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineer team working for FEMA is working very hard with an incredible staff out here from the Corps, as well as our contracting partners that are working very hard to clear debris basins and channels and prepare for the next rain event for this community. I do want to highlight how critical the partnership so far has been. We work closely year-round with Santa Barbara County, but I just want to highlight that their support, their communication with us, along with the state of California and Cal OES, as well as federal agencies, us, our headquarters in Washington, D.C., and my higher headquarters in San Francisco. So much support. We've got support coming from many other districts. And then working for FEMA, all of this is an honor for us to do to help this community. But again, I'd like to welcome General Semonite. It's such a privilege to have him here and ask him to say a few words. Sir.
Well, thanks for being here today, and I'm so proud to be able to be on the ground. Your Corps of Engineers is working all over the world right now. We're building for DOD. We're working in civil works. We're doing work in 110 different countries. But I can't think of one mission that we're more honored to do to be able to work side by side with our partners. I've been with FEMA now for 3 months in a row. This is about our 6th major mission. We had hurricanes in Texas, we had hurricanes in Virgin Islands, hurricanes in Florida, hurricanes in Puerto Rico, and right now we've got over 2,000 people still deployed doing those hurricanes. But when the wildfires came out here to California, the Corps was asked to step up, and we did that. And on this specific challenge, these mudslides is absolutely devastating. I've talked to the leadership from California and specifically from the county of Santa Barbara. We were just up on these detention basins. And if you haven't been there, these are structures that are there to be able to receive a lot of this debris. And they worked exactly as they were designed. But if they weren't able to take some of these 15-foot diameter boulders, the trees, and this massive amount of mud and retain it up the stream, then that would have been a lot more stuff came down. And today what I saw was the partnership by this represented right here, working side by side to try to get the people of California back to anything close to normal. It was absolutely amazing, and it's the same kind of partnership that I've come to expect with the people of the emergency, the mission support. So I want to pass over to Tom from the county of Santa Barbara, but we are very, very honored, and the Corps of Engineers, when the nation needs us, the Corps of Engineers is going to step up to be able to do those tough engineering missions. Sir, over to you.
Well, thank you, General Semonite, General Hemlinger, Colonel Gibbs. The Corps is a tremendous partner here in Santa Barbara County for years. You've always been here when we need you, and this is probably the worst I've ever seen, and you hit the ground immediately afterwards. We're so thankful for the partnership with the state of California, with FEMA, the Corps of Engineers. The work that you're doing for us is invaluable. We could not do this work alone. And on behalf of the citizens of Santa Barbara County, we just thank you. I can't say thank you enough.
Thanks, Tom. Anybody else want to make any comments? Do you want to take questions? I think we're ready. Oh, I'm sorry. Here, go ahead, sir. Anthony, go ahead.
Good evening, Anthony Stornett, operations for the incident. I appreciate you guys coming in and all the assistance they've provided the state, the federal government, and National Guard as well. Also, I want to recognize all those local resources that stood up early on since December 4th. The OC, as Rob Lewin mentioned the other day, they stood up December 4th. They've been here ever since. Himself and the sheriff set up an evacuation plan that got a lot of these residents out of the way. I don't want to lose focus of that. And also all the local cooperators that stood up and the team that stood up way before the incident even occurred with resources and everything else. So in addition to our partners here from the state and federal government, those local partners also need some recognition. So thank you.
Exactly right. Okay. Jay, why don't you facilitate some questions here?
Questions for the general or anyone, please.
For the general, just you've been looking at disasters everywhere. Tell us a little bit how this one looks in your eyes compared to other ones you've been dealing with.
There are some areas where, a good example, hurricanes, we've got enough track record and we pretty much can anticipate what those requirements are coming, that we're able to have the right amount of preparation done ahead of time. There are other ones when Mother Nature gets a vote where you just can't predict some of that. I think what happened well here, as I understand it, is at least there was a good understanding by the local and the state representatives that because the devastation of the fires, if there was rain, it was going to be traumatic. And that's exactly what happened. But I think the fact that the team responded as well as they did clearly saved lives. And the question now is, how do you continue to get these structures and the rest of the area back up to running so that we're able to take whatever Mother Nature throws at us next? I think it goes back to not so much what do you do, but how do you work side by side as the total vertical team to be able to help respond. Sir.
I guess from what you saw today, how prepared are the basins for another significant rain event?
So I'm going to go to Kurt and let him address that, and then if need be, the county can jump in.
From what we saw today, we visited the Cold Springs debris basin today, and we've made major progress there. As you know, there are 11 basins, and we're working on 10 of them right now. Are they ready for a storm of the magnitude we just had? No. But we're making great progress, and I am very confident that we'll be ready and be prepared when the next rain event comes. But again, I think you all realize that the storm that we had recently in this area was really one of a kind. Never had one that with that much rainfall in such a short period of time that had that type of impact.
I guess of the 10, are there certain ones that are more impacted?
You know, some of my team members that have been working out here, and I would probably Cold Springs Basin is a big one. We prioritize that in accordance with the county first. We prioritize them in order. We're very concerned about the Santa Monica Basin, just for the sheer amount of debris that's within that. But they are prioritized. We've done that with the county, and we're trying to get at those in the order of priority where there would be the greatest downstream impact.
Tom, any questions on your perspective? Okay.
Lieutenant General, you've obviously been all over the country, all over the world over the past year or so dealing with these types of natural disasters. What has been so unique about having to handle what's going on here in this area?
I guess I'll answer that in two ways. One is that we've got to make sure that in the Corps we have the capacity to be able to step up. The Corps can do, normally we're ready for one or two big hurricanes or one or two big events, and working with the rest of the local and regional teams can respond. The challenge here was the magnitude of multiple large events all at once. So we were able to resource that with teams from different parts of the country. When Texas hit, we did the Southwest. All of our guys in the Southwest went in. When we got hit in Florida, we brought a lot of our East Coast guys in. How do you somehow keep enough capacity, though, so that if there is another storm, you can still respond? And so the team that the colonel had here, we were cautious to be able to make sure that we knew there was challenges, try to keep them in reserve if you want to, so where they can, they've got the ability to be able to step up. He's still got guys in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands now as well, but it really goes back to how can we anticipate? And I think it goes back to what all of us in the role of emergency management are expected to do. When the next thing happens, what we don't want to do is ever look back and say, if we only had done more in between the events. So that means clear these out. You know, I was talking to Tom earlier. Are there some of the structures that need to be repaired that were actually damaged? How do you continue to be able to make sure we're getting the right amount of flows? What we do in the Corps a lot of times is come back in and we'll actually do a study and say, is there now some additional construction that might be needed at somewhere down the road? Now, it's up to the state and the federal government. Can you afford that, and how do you budget for all that? But I think what we owe the local people to do is not just try to worry about fixing this storm. How do you somehow build resiliency in so you can handle the next storm?
Can you
Sure.
give us an idea of what resources, when you say we're bringing them to bear, what are you bringing? How many trucks, how many people?
Kurt, do you have any idea of what you're bringing in?
Yeah, I'm not going to guess at the number of trucks. There's a lot of trucks. But right now we've, I've got about 70 to 80 folks within our district and from other organizations within the Corps of Engineers that have come and are working on this. So maybe about 80 folks.
The other thing, though, and if you haven't been to the sites, I imagine we could figure out how to get you up there and see it. They're very, very constricted areas. So we were just on a site where we had 4 trucks there ready to go. Only 1 truck can back down into that basin at a time. You got 3 pieces of equipment loading it back up. Cops are all over the place. They're doing a great job of being able to move the trucks back out. So this is one of those examples where you just can't throw 5 times extra piece of equipment at it and necessarily think it's going to go 5 times faster. I think the colonel's working right now on all the basins. We want to continue to work with the county to try to be as aggressive as we can. But it really goes back to some relatively constrained sites where you got to be cautious. And there was a bunch of boulders today, I swear to God, were 15-foot diameter boulders. You just can't pick those things up and throw them in the back of a truck. You've got a machine up there cutting those into little pieces, and we want to make sure that whatever we do here, I think the whole team agrees, we want to be safe and make sure we don't get anybody injured.
Lieutenant General, you just assessed a lot of the damage today, drove around and actually saw it. Could you just give me your thoughts on what was going through your head today as you drove around and saw the
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I'm an East Coast guy, and I had heard about fires. I'd heard about mudslides, but it's like anything else. Until you put boots on the ground and you're talking to people like you're talking to people like Tom, who knows this area real well, and understand the magnitude of this, there's nothing you can get out of the front page of a national newspaper or watching a national TV. I think you got to be here to understand it, and I sympathize with the people of this region because this is something that, again, Mother Nature's going to get a vote, and this is something that is going to continue to be a risk, I think, for years to come. I think what we'll do is we'll stop it right there, Jay, and thank you all for coming, and whatever, especially from the Corps side, if you need to go see the Corps of Engineers and to be able to get any insights from us, the Colonel's certainly available. Anything else, Tom, Jim, anything? We good? Okay. All right. We just want to clarify, 500 trucks a day. 500 a day.
500 trucks a day.
Details, let me know. I got all these guys in the world.
And they're trying to run anywhere from 15 to 30 trucks.
She's scared.
And at the end of the day,
She's expecting to go home. No, especially with this now, we can push everything up. So, yeah.
What's your job now? It's good to see you. Has the congressman been out here lately?
He's out here this last week.
We got to put the congressman in a white hat and take him up on the site. We'll certainly do that.
You got out to see Colonel Gibbs.
Our districts are all over the all over the place, and whatever we can do. I testified to the Senate yesterday, so I'm in Congress most of the time. If you want me to stop by and say hi, let me know. Okay. So I know the senator very, very well. We worked on some big dams. We worked on some water issues, water supply. Big fan, and whatever we can do to make sure that our elected